Hi, welcome back. We are now on the fourth video, I believe. Maybe I've lost count. And we're just going to do these last two questions and then we'll be done. So it says, which statement would allow me to prove that this triangle, PAM, is congruent to triangle TED? Well, let's take a look. Each of these have three pieces of evidence. So either using the space you have here, or maybe you can use this section here or another piece of paper. It doesn't matter to me, but it might make sense to put it here. Whatever works best for you. We need to trace, so kids in the study club, because I need to see the evidence in these four situations. So taking my piece of paper and tracing it, PAM, TED. Okay, then I'm going to do it again. PAM, PAM, TED. One more time, because I can probably use the original one. PAM, TED. Okay, so I have to work out which one would prove that these two are congruent. So I'm going to take the first one. So A says, what if we drew out the evidence for items 1, 2, and 3? So let's do that here with our sketch. They're saying item 1 is segment PA is congruent to segment TE. Segment PM is segment equal to segment ED. And then angle P is congruent to angle T. Angle P is equal to angle T. All right, so as I look at writing out these first three, I notice this spells side angle side angle side congruence. This spells angle side side. Oops, no good. So that doesn't work because it has to spell the same thing. So right now we can eliminate A. Now let's take a look at B. What if we had evidence of item 1, 2, and 4? So let's show that on a picture. 1 is PA is congruent to TE. PA is congruent to TE. Item 2, PM, is congruent to ED. Cool. And then they want me to do this angle. Angle A is congruent to angle E. Angle A is congruent to angle E. I'm feeling like it's a lot like this last one. When I look at the evidence, it spells angle side side. That's a problem. Here it spells side angle side. And yes, it's got to spell the same thing. So that's going to be not congruent. So I eliminate this. So these two have been not congruent. Not congruent. Let's try 1, 3, and 4. So 1 was PATE. PATE. 3 was angle P, angle T. Angle P, angle T. 4 is A and E. A and E. This spells angle, side angle, angle, side angle. So we're loving it. We finally spelled the same thing. And this is angle, side angle, triangle congruence. Yay, so it looks like C because of angle, side angle, triangle congruence. Now, if you're paranoid, you might want to keep going. Let's just double check that this one's not congruent. So 2, 3, and 4. So I can use this picture here. Item 2 says PM is congruent to ED. 3 says angle P is equal to angle T. And 4 says angle A is congruent to angle E. 2. This is angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side. So I actually like this. So now I have to be careful though. Both of them are congruent, but does the order of the evidence spell these letters? Maybe that's why I've got to be careful. So I'm glad I kept going there. So let's take a look. PAM, so that's first angle, second angle, no side. PAM, first angle, second angle, no side. Now let's check out TED. First angle, second angle, there is a side. So notice this fourth one is not congruent because the evidence does spell angle, angle, side, but it's not in the same order. Ooh, okay. So definitely we have item C. Last question. Now I'm not sure that this is going to fit on here, but let's take a look. It says a mini water cooler is a tall cylinder. So notice we get a cylinder. So pi r squared h. The cooler dispenses water in a conical cup. So there's the cone. Conical just means cone. So that's the formula. V equals pi r squared h divided by 3. Now it says if we know that the water cooler is 12 times the height of each cup. So whatever this is, let's call it little h, we know that this big H is 12 times the size of the little cup. The little h, this height, so we'll call that capital H, is 12 times the little h. Okay, how many cups of water can the mini cooler dispense? Well, let's find out. If I find okay, so they said they have the same radius. So that must mean maybe they'll cancel out. So I can go ahead and keep the same letter R for both, and they are actually the same. Okay, so the volume of my cooler would be 12 times pi times r squared times h. Okay, and I just put the 12 in the front. Here, the volume of my cone, I really can't change. It's just right there. So I think of it, let's pretend I already knew the answer, and let's try something out. Let's say that I know that 10 cups, or 10 of the cones, would fill up the cylinder. So notice I'm trying to figure out what number, if I knew the volume of the cone, and I could substitute that in, and I knew the volume of the cylinder, I need to know the number that I'm multiplying by. So I'm going to call that capital F for factor. I want to know what factor, or the number of total cups. I could also call it N for number. Maybe I'll do that. So if I knew N the total cups, I would just multiply it by the cone. Pi r squared h over 3 should be equal to the volume of my cylinder, 12 pi r squared h. Now I'm wanting to solve for N. I know it's not 10, but I just use that as an example. If I knew the 10 cups would do it, then 10 times the cone volumes should equal the cylinder. Now we got to get N by itself on one side. So just a little algebra. First things first, I'd like to multiply both sides by 3 so that this 3 on the bottom cancels. And now I'll rewrite it. So N, the number of little cups, pi r squared h equal 12 pi r squared h times 3. So now I do know that I'm just multiplying a whole bunch of numbers, so the order doesn't really matter. That would be 36 times pi r squared h. And I still have this big number N, and I need to get him by himself on one side. So I could divide both sides by pi, and then that would cancel. So that's getting close to getting N by himself. I could divide both sides by r squared, and that'd be really handy because now N's getting close to being by himself. And then last but not least, I could divide both sides by h, and I'm loving it. H goes away, h goes away. I'm left with only N and only the number 36. So I believe I found my answer 36. Now, if you have time left on, and that's one of the answers. If you have time left on the test, you can plug this in and double check your answer. So N was not 10, it was 36, but you can plug it back in and double check. Thanks so much for joining me. Good luck studying for the midterm.